This is Algebra 1, test number 1 study guide. This is part 2 of 2. Pick it up at number 24. It says an athlete runs a 900-meter course in 180 seconds. Find the average speed of the athlete, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So it gives us some values. It gives us 900 meters, 180 seconds, and then it says find average speed. Remember, average speed we represent with R for rate. So if we're looking for R or we're looking for rate, we use the form rate equals distance over time. So we'll plug in the values we know. Rate we don't know. So we'll plug in an unknown, which is R. D we know is 900 meters, and time we know is 180 seconds. So all we did right there was we substituted in given values. So we have 900 meters divided by 180 seconds. Notice meters divided by seconds do not cancel each other out. So our correct answer is going to be meters per second, just like that. When you divide 900 by 180, you get the number 5. And all we did right there to simplify that was we divided while we were simplifying. 25 says Sasha returned home from mowing lawns at 4:15 p.m. It took 1 hour to mow the first lawn. The second lawn took 1 hour. She took a 30-minute break between two lawns. When did she begin mowing the first lawn? All you have to do with this one is work backwards. At 4:15 is when she got home. Let's say it took 1 hour to mow the first lawn. And again, it's written backwards because this would have been her second lawn, but it's not going to make a difference. Watch and see. That leaves us at 3:15. Again, the second lawn took another hour. That leaves us at 2:15. She took a break in between, but again, the order is not going to make a difference. It's not going to prove a problem for us right here. Then she took a 30-minute break, so she began mowing her first lawn at 1:45. 26, we're just writing algebraic expressions for these phrases. 26 says the sum of B and 11. Sum means plus or add, so B plus 11. The product of G and 4. Product means multiply, so G times 4 or 4G. And then 28 says 4 times the sum of Q and P. Product means multiply, or times, I should say, means multiply, and sum means add. But the way this is written is you have to add Q and P first. It doesn't matter if you write them first or not. Order of operations says you have to multiply first. So the only way that you can get addition before multiplication is to put them in parentheses. So no matter how you write it, first or second, it has to be in parentheses Q plus P. 4 times Q plus P, or written this way, still in parentheses Q plus P times 4. 29, and 30, we're defining a variable and writing an expression. The quotient of 6 times a number and 16. Quotient tells us to divide. 6 times a number, that's something that any number you come up with, a variable. So 6 times x divided by 16. You have to do the multiplication first and then the division, or 6x divided by 16. Number 30 says 4 minus a number. Again, you have to come up with the number. And I actually wrote, it's not this, I apologize. It says minus, not times, minus. So 4 minus a number would be 4 minus x. 31 says the total cost to rent a boat is 18 times the number of hours the boat's used, or $18 times it. Write an equation to model the situation if C is the total cost and H is the number of hours the boat's used. C equals 18 times H. C equals 18 times H. So if you use it for 1 hour, it costs you $18. 2 hours, 18 times 2, which is 36, and so on and so forth. That's what C would be. 32 says an equilateral triangle, and if you don't know what equilateral triangle is, it says it right after, has 3 sides of equal length. What is the equation of the perimeter of the triangle? If P is perimeter and S is equal to the length of the side. So we have a triangle. If we don't know what the length is, it's S. They're all the same. They're all S, S, and S. So your perimeter would be equal to S plus S plus S, or simply 3 times S. 33 says evaluate U plus XY. For U is 18, X is 10, and Y is 8. So in place of U, we'll plug in 18, plus in place of X, we plug in 10, times in place of Y, we plug in 8. You do multiplication first, and you get 18 because you have to do, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, you have to do the order of operations. You always do multiplication before you do addition. 10 times 8 is 80, and 18 plus 80 is 98. When we go ahead and justify out what we did here, all we did for this first step is we substituted in, and we substituted those values because they were given. That's what and why we did it. Then right here we multiplied, because you multiply first when we're simplifying. And then finally we added as we were simplifying. 34 says, pair of shoes cost $52.99 and the state sales tax is 8%. Use the formula C equals P plus R times P to find the total cost of the shoes, where C is the total, P is the price, and C is the sales tax rate. The first thing you have to look at is the sales tax rate, because it's 8%, but you can't multiply by 8% in that form. You have to move that decimal over 2 times. When you move it over 2 times, it becomes 0.08. So 8 becomes 0.08, 8%. So we're going to plug that value in place of, this time, in place of R. The price is going to be P, and the total cost is going to be C. So just like DR and T, like we were using earlier, we'll plug in CP and R. C is the thing we don't know, so we'll leave that as a variable. But we'll plug in $52.99 in place of the price, and we'll plug in 0.08 in place of the rate. Price is represented twice. Notice $52.99 is represented twice. You always do multiplication first. So on this step right here, what we did was we substituted, and then we substituted those values because they were given. On the next step, we did our multiplication first because order of operations says you should do so. 0.08 times $52.99. That's multiplying to simplify. And then the next one, we added $52.99 to 4.2392. Notice no rounding's done yet. Round at the end. And again, that step right there is just adding to simplify to finish it off. And then since we're talking about money, it doesn't tell you to round to the nearest hundredth, but we know that you can't go past 100 cents. So that second digit after the decimal, the hundredths place, needs to either stay at 2 or it needs to round up. That number 9 tells us, since it's 5 or greater, that 2 has to round up to become a 3. So our total cost then is $57.23. And then the last problem, number 35, says evaluate the expression AB squared when A's value is 4 and B's value is 3. Again, you're going to work your order of operations after we do our first step. First step, all we have to do, in place of A, we're plugging in 4, and in place of B, we're substituting in 3. So substitute. And we substituted those values because they were given in the instructions. Then our second step, we go from 4 times 3 squared. You do what's inside parentheses first. So 4 times 3, we multiplied because we were simplifying. And then the next step, we're going to take 12 and we're going to square it, which means 12 times 12. And 12 times 12, we're evaluating exponents. And again, because we're simplifying.